Thank you, and on behalf of Premier Rachel Notley and the Government of Alberta, good afternoon and welcome everyone. I'm very pleased to be here on traditional grounds of Treaty 7 for today's announcement, and would like to acknowledge with us is MLA Brian Malkinson and Councillor Evan Woolley. Thank you for joining us. I'll also like to thank Mike McNeil and the whole team here at District Ventures for hosting us. I'll also acknowledge Justin Smith from the Calgary Chamber of Commerce and David Edmonds from A100. I'm here today to share details about a tax credit to help support Alberta's small businesses and investors as they create new jobs and diversify our economy. Small businesses in Alberta have a bigger economic impact than small businesses anywhere else in Canada. They make up 35% of all jobs in Alberta and help hundreds of thousands of people across the province earn a good living for themselves and their families. In the last year, their contribution to our GDP increased 28% to $97.8 billion. However, for far too long, small businesses in Alberta have not had access to some of the tools their colleagues in neighboring jurisdictions have had for decades. Business leaders across Alberta have told us more access to capital for small businesses means more jobs and a more diversified economy for our province. That's why in Budget 2016, our government committed to establishing the Alberta Investor Tax Credit, or AITC. Other provinces have provided similar tax credits to investors for years with huge success. But we wanted a made-in-Alberta approach, tailor-made to help small businesses here continue to be the best in the country. After extensive consultations this summer with some incredible investors and business owners, including Arlene Dickinson, the CEO here at District Ventures, we agreed the AITC will offer a 30% tax credit to investors who provide capital to Alberta small businesses in a variety of sectors. Those include research, development, and commercialization of proprietary technology, products, and processes, development of interactive digital media and game products, post-production, visual effects, and digital animation, and tourism operations like resorts, skiing facilities, amusement recreation industries, hunting and fishing camps, and scenic and sightseeing tours. The AITC requires legislation that we will introduce this fall when the Alberta Legislature resumes sitting, and will offer credit for investments in Alberta, investments in Alberta small businesses made between April 14th, 2016 and April 14th, 2019. Throughout consultation, the business community asked us to ensure that the credit was retroactive. With today's announcement, we want to encourage Albertans considering making an investment to free up that capital now to encourage growth. That means it'll apply to investments made between April 14th of 2016 and December 31st of 2019. Learning from experiences in other jurisdictions, we know this will provide a strong incentive for Alberta venture capitalists and angel investors to boost access to capital when and where small businesses need it most. We calculate that with a budget of $90 million over 3 years, the AITC will support up to 4,400 new jobs and contribute up to $500 million to our GDP. The registration process for the tax credit will be announced pending the passage of accompanying legislation this fall, with applications starting in January of 2017. With the AITC, our government and Alberta investors are standing with small business during this challenging economic time. We are introducing the AITC, restoring training programs for entrepreneurs, cutting the small business tax, and adding millions to our small business voucher program, among many other initiatives, so Alberta continues to be Canada's best place to do business. And I want to thank the business leaders and investors, especially those here today, all these fine folks around me and behind me, who are working with us to support job creation and economic diversity in Alberta. And with that, it's my pleasure to invite, I believe, Justin Smith from the Calgary Chamber of Commerce to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Minister Bilous, for including the Calgary Chamber of Commerce for what, in our view, is an exceptionally important announcement today for the future economic prosperity of Alberta. As many of you know, the Calgary Chamber is an organization that represents roughly 1,700 member businesses in the city of Calgary. And collectively, they mirror the rich diversity, resilience, and entrepreneurial spirit of Alberta's economy. We're our city's leading business advocate, working hard each day to make our member businesses more successful. And as 2016 marks our 125th anniversary, I guess you could say we've been doing that for a long time now. And we all recognize the challenges facing Alberta's economy today. For those of us in the economic policy world, it can be easy to sit behind a desk, review the latest investment reports and projections, and talk about the challenges that we face in the abstract. We say things like structural changes in the global energy industry are putting downward pressure on commodity prices and curtailing investment flows, or things like sluggish global growth and inconsistent monetary policy is what's slowing our path to a sustained recovery. Sometimes it's just easier to avoid personifying the problems that we're facing. But the reality is, some people are losing their jobs, families are struggling to pay the bills, and businesses that many of us have frequented for years are closing their doors. These are, without a doubt, tough times, but as a province, we've faced tough times before. And as we face these challenges, in order to identify where we can be doing better and craft solutions that will help us accelerate the turn towards economic recovery and future prosperity, meaningful collaboration between government, business, stakeholders, and citizens is required. And I'm incredibly pleased to say that that's exactly what has happened over the course of 16 months, and what we're here to celebrate, the introduction of the Alberta Investor Tax Credit, a program that will help spur investment and job creation in promising growth-oriented businesses. The reality is the inaccessibility of early-stage capital investment has been a major impediment to growth and sustainability of Alberta's small businesses. Often lacking the resources and administrative capacity to raise capital via debt financing, these businesses rely heavily on equity investments made by angel investors and venture capital firms. Yet despite this need, Alberta for too long remained one of the only provinces in Canada without a meaningful tax incentive for those who invest in their own backyard and support Alberta-based companies. Under the leadership of Premier Notley and Minister Bilous, I'm proud to see Alberta adopt an incentive structure aimed specifically at encouraging private sector investors to purchase equity in local, capital-starved companies. Empirical evidence from other jurisdictions demonstrates quite clearly how impactful an investor tax credit can be at fostering the success of growth-oriented companies, at improving our economic productivity, at boosting the innovative capacity of our economy, and bolstering Alberta's overall competitive position with regard to capital and talent attraction. And the best part is, companies that participate in these types of programs generate more in tax revenue than they consume in tax credits, ensuring that the AITC won't, over the long term, aggravate the deficit. So my point is, this isn't simply good entrepreneurial or good innovation policy, this is good fiscal policy as well. So Minister, on behalf of the Calgary Chamber, I'd like to express our deep-seated appreciation for your strong leadership in making today's announcement a reality, and for listening attentively along the way to the concerns and frustrations of some of our membership to ensure that together we designed a program that'll deliver meaningful results. Today's announcement is a testament to all that we can accomplish for the benefit of Alberta businesses and our economy overall when we work together, and I have no doubt that success today will serve as a solid foundation for continued success tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. Justin Smith, Director of Policy Research and Government Relations at the Calgary Chamber of Commerce. And now from our host, District Ventures, Mr. Mike McNeil, Operations Manager.
Thank you. Foremost, I'd like to thank Minister Bilous for coming today. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Mike McNeil, and I manage District Ventures Accelerator. I can't think of a better venue for this announcement today. The investment tax credit encourages investment in non-traditional sectors. And at District Ventures, we see tremendous opportunity there. Unlike the majority of accelerators in Canada, which focus on tech and energy, we support companies in the food and health sectors. This makes us the first accelerator of its kind in Canada. The entrepreneurs at District Ventures are innovators and job creators. They are critical to the success of Alberta's economy. All of us recognize the importance of economic diversification. And it's true that government must play a key role in this process. But it's up to all Albertans to support this effort, and that begins with supporting and investing in our entrepreneurs. This is the motivation behind our founder and CEO, Arlene Dickinson. Arlene invested her own capital to create a space where entrepreneurs can access every resource they need to succeed. We need more Albertans to invest in our entrepreneurs. Today's announcement will put more capital into the hands of our job creators, and that's where it's needed most. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we will open the floor up to questions now. There's a mic to my left and your right. Just in advance of asking questions, if we could have you identify yourself by your name and the outlet you're with. We'll take 3 here, and then we'll go to the phones.
Hi, Minister Ian Campbell with Rogers Media, 660 News in City. Just wondering, there's a new poll out today saying the majority of Albertans don't like the carbon levy. There has been a lot of criticism lately. RE/MAX telling us that the vacancy rate's up to 25%, people blaming the carbon levy, the minimum wage increase. What do you say to the critics right now that this government's not doing enough or needs to do more because small business is leaving?
Well, I mean, I would say, first of all, we recognize, the current impact of the sustained low price of oil is having on all businesses across this province. I mean, this affects, and as we know, not just businesses in the oil and gas sector directly, but this is permeated throughout all businesses throughout the province. But frankly, this is why our government has taken proactive measures through our Alberta Jobs Plan budget this spring to introduce several measures to help assist businesses at this time. Earlier this week, I was in Calgary and announcing with Calgary Economic Development our headquarters attraction and investment program, which is going to look at not only the strengths that Calgary has, but the fact that there is a fairly high vacancy rate means that Calgary is much more competitive as far as commercial rents than their counterparts, Toronto, Vancouver, Regina, etc. And so, as far as the carbon levy, our government made a commitment to act on the environment and to move forward. And so we are moving forward with that carbon levy. For those that are talking about the impacts of it, well, it comes in on January 1st of 2017. But we recognize that, first of all, that one of the ways to combat climate change is by putting a price on carbon. We've come up with made an Alberta solution. And, for those who have been listening intently to the Prime Minister and the Federal Environment Minister, we can pretty much deduce the fact that there will be a federal price on carbon put in place by the government. And our position is we'd rather have a made in Alberta solution as opposed to one imposed by Ottawa.
What is your take on the impact on small business now, though? Do you think there has been one? Is it still to come? Or, because we're seeing people like Western feedlots and everyone point the finger at the legislature.
Right. Well, Western Feedlot's decision, one needs to take into account the current price per head of cattle, which has dropped significantly in the past year. Again, those commodity prices are not set by the Alberta government or by Alberta. Those are international prices. But, there's a number of initiatives that our government has taken from the Alberta Investor Tax Credit. We'll be flushing out further the Capital Investment Tax Credit. We've reduced small business tax by 1/3 that comes into effect on January 1st, and a number of other measures. And so, we do recognize that it's going to be a challenge for some businesses to pay the carbon levy, but we also need to recognize that this is the direction that the world is going, and Alberta does not want to be left behind.
Just one question from Global News. Is the decision by OPEC to restrict production give you any hope or anything when you're speaking about commodity prices for the future of the province?
I think, we saw immediately after OPEC made that announcement that WTI shot up by 6% almost immediately. And so I do think that is positive. But again, our government is not going to sit and wait and cross our fingers and hope the price of oil continues to climb back up. We're taking proactive measures, and again, our climate leadership plan is one that is being talked about not just across this country, but frankly internationally, and has put Alberta back on the map in the eyes of many investors and potential investors. And it's also given us significant credibility when we're talking about how we need to get our product to Tidewater. And the Premier, the Minister of Energy, and myself have been working diligently with our counterparts both federally and provincially. And we won't stop working until we get at least one pipeline approved.
Thanks very much. we have callers on the phone. There's two, and I don't have your names or outlets, so if you could identify yourself when you get called in.
Your next question comes from the line of James Wood with the Calgary Herald.
Hi, Minister Bilous. Sorry, I wanted to ask you kind of about the same two topics that you were asked about. On the carbon tax poll, I guess, how big of a concern is it for your government that there seemingly is a lack of public support for it? How difficult does it make it both politically and governmentally moving forward? And I have a second question as well.
Sure. I mean, we always look at opportunities to get feedback from Albertans and value their input. I mean, as Justin just mentioned from the Chamber of Commerce, that this Alberta Investor Tax Credit has come directly from the business and investor community in the province. When our ministry was created, or my ministry, they had indicated that this is something that the business community has been asking subsequent provincial governments for decades. Our government listened to the business community and acted on this. As far as the carbon levy, I think that obviously our hope is that Albertans will see and recognize the value of this. We've indicated time and again that every dollar collected from the carbon levy will be reinvested back into the economy. And we've also seen, similar prices on carbon work well in other jurisdictions. We recognize that, when you want to drive down greenhouse gases, that putting a price on carbon is one half the equation. The other half the equation is investing in innovation. And a couple of weeks ago, I stood up a panel or announced a panel with Gordon Lambert leading or chairing that panel, looking at ways to invest some dollars from the carbon levy into new innovative solutions, and looking at how Alberta can be continue to be a global leader when it comes to our oil and gas sector, but driving that, looking at new technologies and finding efficiencies in the way that we extract, refine, and ship our product.
Can I just ask you on the oil price as well? I mean, we've seen a few false starts over the last 6 months or a year in terms of this. Do you think anything about this is different this time compared to what we've seen in recent events?
Sorry, James, can you repeat that? I missed the first part of your question.
Sorry, I guess I'm wondering, we've seen kind of false starts around the oil price. We've seen it hit 50, for instance, before, only to see it sink back down again. Do you think there's anything different this time around?
Well, I think, the fact that OPEC has decided to put a cap on production, has led to that, the immediate increase of WTI, but I think that it will have an overall long-term positive impact for us. But again, we recognize that we can't just sit around and wait for the price of oil to rebound, and this is why, we are rolling out initiatives like the Alberta Investor Tax Credit to help spur investment and support small businesses and help them grow, which we know 95% of businesses in Alberta are small businesses. So although that is positive for our oil sector, we are going to continue moving forward with initiatives that will help the economy recover and businesses get back on their feet, while at the same time continuing to have constructive conversations about the need and value of getting pipelines both east and west.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions from the floor at this time? Okay, thanks very much. We're going to have a quick opportunity for the business investors, investment leaders who have joined us here today to have a meet and greet with Minister Bilous in the back boardroom. We're going to head there.